I'm just gonna get started. So what's your major here at Purdue?
I am double majoring in forestry and wildlife.
So would you say you're pretty passionate about plants?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know what invasive plants are?
Yes. So invasive plants are plants that do not belong here and are threatening the health of our forests.
Our forests specifically, and then, so you've heard of Japanese honeysuckle, right?
Yes.
What do you know about Japanese honeysuckle?
That is the bane of my existence. That it is the first plant in our forest to start growing and the last plant to stop growing. So that means that it has a longer growing season and it is able to choke out our native plants very easily. It is also very difficult to kill and will never permanently go away.
Okay, so are the plants around right now in the wintertime, or they're still alive?
Yes, so they lie dormant, like trees do, but I've been out to the forest recently and they're already starting to grow new leaves and start to grow seeds. So they're coming out of dormancy way before native plants of Indiana.
And this is what is the problem, the dormancy.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you obviously know, Purdue has a problem with this specific plant. It's found, like, all over campus, and you said you saw it in the forest. So, what do you think about the different methods of getting rid of the plants, like herbicides, burning, mowing?
So,
what are your thoughts on that? And then, I guess, explain what you know about the process.
So the herbicides are effective, but they are dangerous not only to people, but the forest health around them. Or because if you mix them incorrectly or you're not wearing the correct protective gear, you can seriously injure yourself either through the toxins or chemical burns. And then if you are doing a wide spray throughout the forest, the herbicide doesn't only target the honeysuckle, so it can destroy the other plants in the forest. And then sawing them down only does so much good because if the roots are still alive, then the plant still grows and it doesn't really do anything and it's a lot of labor. And people are still kind of scared of prescribed burns, even though they're very good for forest health. But then if you get too much dead debris that you're trying to burn, it will set the whole forest afire. So you have to be really careful how much stuff you're burning.
Okay. So, all in all three methods that I gave as example and you've said back to me harm the environment immensely. Does it harm the environment more than helps with the invasive plants, or are the invasive plants destructive enough that you need to destroy the environment to help control it?
I think the prescribed burns don't damage the forest. They're very good for the forest.
Okay. It's just too much fire or too much debris.
Yeah, will set the fire ablaze. And then if you're doing herbicides, that can really, really screw up the forest and hurt it a lot. And then if you're just sawing them down and you're not doing any herbicides, you're basically just wasting your time because the plant will just come back.
Okay. And I remember you telling me about how the seeds themselves are dormant. So with the three methods, I'm guessing you'd have to do them at least once a year. Probably mowing more than once. You'd probably have to do it a couple times if you're just wasting your time if it's going to keep growing.
Yeah, and with the seeds, like, the fire won't get them because they're under the ground. The herbicides won't get them. And obviously, since they're seeds, you can't saw them down. So you have to go in year after year after year after year and try to fix this problem.
Okay. So, our POV statement, actually I'll explain what we're doing later. So what are your ideas, or do you have any ideas or other methods we can use, like, instead of these, or something? Because what my group came up with was using insects. The only problem with insects is that if it's an invasive plant, then the insects have to come from the native land and then themselves could be invasive. So, do you think using some sort of technology would be a good idea, or would be beneficial in that sense, or do you think we should focus on like fire, since you said it's like the least harmful?
So invasive bugs are a very slippery slope, because you introduce another invasive species and then that can cause a whole lot of harm. What we're really trying to do is bring our forests back to the pure state that they once were before these invasive species. I think if you came up with a herbicide that only affected the honeysuckle, so then you could do a large spray and it wouldn't hurt the rest of the forest. If you could come up with some way to be able to saw them and then that also kill the roots. So if maybe the saw had some
sort of like root scoop.
Yeah, or if you made a saw that had the ability to also have pesticide inside of it. So as it was sawing, it was releasing the pesticide, or the herbicide as well. So then as you saw, the herbicide gets on that stump that you've left and then soaks down into the plant. Again, like scooping out the roots, and so there's nothing left would also be a good thing.
That could work. All right, last question. So what do you think Purdue should do going forward? Like, I know, like, in terms of either increasing awareness or like general teaching, like what do you think Purdue should do?
I think raising awareness would be a very good thing. I know my grandma plants honeysuckle as like a garden decorative. She doesn't know that it's an endangered species. So like teaching people, or not endangered, invasive species, teaching people that these plants don't belong here and that they're bad would be a very good thing. Also, if maybe we could set up something like Detrash the Wabash, where people could volunteer to help bring our forests back to a healthy state by going in and using brush saws or spraying herbicides or stuff like that, getting these out, that would be a very good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.